Hello and welcome to Talk a Good Game. As a match preview of West Ham United against Watford, as West Ham are looking to make it 5 wins on the bounce. Since when did we last do that? I'll tell you towards the end of the show when we discuss West Ham, because that's what everyone will be asking. Gonzo, let's start with our opposition, the Hornets. What's your opinion on them?
Well, I think the very fact that their manager's being talked about as getting a new contract is testament to how well he's done, really, because normally they get rid of him very, very quickly. And so they've done very well. I think they've had Kapue has been out for a while, which of course has seen young Quina or whatever you want to call him come in, who they stole off of us for a measly, paltry £1 million at the last hour of deadline day or whatever it was. Troy Deeney, we know he's a good leader, a good captain, bit of a thug, I think, in playing terms. Decore, very good player, and somebody the two players that I've gone on about for quite a while now I really like, Delafeu and of course Pereira. It might be Pereira. The guy from Juventus, very, very good player.
Are they surprising you this season, how well they've done in general, etc.?
No, not for me. I wanted Delafeu for a long time. Pereira as well. We were actually linked with him, if you remember, a couple of seasons ago. It was somebody I was very, very keen to get as well. Troy Deeney, we've discussed Troy Deeney before off air, and as you mentioned to me once, he's a type of player that you hate him, but if he's in your team, you sort of love him because he gives everything. So I think they've got quite a lot about them, and they weren't a team that I don't think I particularly saw struggling. Having said that, if somebody wants to go back to other previews I did, maybe on for relegation. I don't think I did, though.
I genuinely thought they would struggle this season. I just looked at their team. I still do, actually. I still look at their 11. And Watford fans are going to tune in and hate me for saying this, but I still look at their 11. I think there's only maybe 3 players I would take to West Ham and put them in our starting 11. Decore is the biggest and most obvious one, and then you can debate about the other ones. But there's something about them, obviously, because they're exceeding my expectations. Certainly at the start of the season when they won 4 or 5 games in a row or something, they did really, really well. They sort of dipped a little bit, but they've come back now. They were close against Everton, getting 3 points. They beat Cardiff. Yes, they had that scare, if you like, towards the end of the game, but they still held on, and it's a sign of good characteristics. If you can go 3-0 up, then the other team take back to 3-2. They've got all the momentum in the world. If you can hold on for 10 minutes and get the 3 points, it's a good thumbs up to the character of your team, etc. If you can hold out. Troy Deeney, as you just mentioned there, he's someone I actually really like. I really admire Troy Deeney, and I've watched and listened to a couple of his interviews and stuff he's done, quite extended, long ones as well. And he comes across very, very well on them, despite the image he might portray on the pitch, as Gonzo described him as a thug. He does portray that image on the football pitch, but when you listen to him, actually, he's very in sync with the football fans. I think he's very in line with the terraces, if you like. And I really like Troy Deeney. I think he's the biggest danger, if you like, on Saturday. Isaac Success is one of those players we were linked with, I think, a couple of times, and he's a bit weird. I keep watching him, and all he seems to do is just foul people. He just seems to be on the pitch to foul people, but he's a big boy. He's hard to look after because he's really strong. He's their version of Antonio, I think, actually. I don't think he's got all the footballing ability in the world, but his physique just makes it very difficult to get near him. But Quina, he went there for £1 million because he wasn't getting game time. He's got his first start against Everton. I thought he did really well in that game, all considered. Then he started again. He retained his position against Cardiff, scored an absolute belter. Are you worried about him on Saturday, and are you sort of disappointed to see him doing it in a Watford shirt rather than the West Ham one?
Yeah, both on that. There was no surprise that Quina was a good player. I mean, not just this summer. I think it was the Youth World Cup. He was the star of the show. It actually was the Under-17. I believe it was a Toulon tournament the year before. He was the star of that as well. So you've actually had a good 2 years of him being the outstanding attacking midfielder in world youth football. So, yeah, absolutely gutted to see him go, really. There was no... When you show that level of consistency, there's no doubting about your quality. It's really, I thought when I saw him live, I thought he was very small, very, very small, and not short and stocky either. He was. I didn't think he was ready for men's football. Maybe Pellegrini thought that about him, and I'm pretty sure. Look, if he signed for Watford, then I think he's done so. If he was given assurances that he was going to play. So I'm pretty sure if he's done that with Watford, if we'd have given him assurances he was going to play, probably would have stayed and signed a new deal or whatever. But it's disappointing, but how disappointed can you be? Because actually things have worked out quite well for us, and actually whatever Pellegrini has decided has worked out very, very well. But it is tinged with a certain amount of regret, and it does grate a little bit to see him doing well.
I don't leave this on Pellegrini's doorstep, actually. I think this was sort of in the pipeline before Pellegrini arrived. You know, you had that game at the Emirates against Arsenal, didn't he, in the cup under David Moyes, and he looked like a fish out of water. He struggled badly in that game. But more players struggled under David Moyes' football than exceeded, if you like, and it just throttled him, that football. Too much pressure, too quick, and he sort of got one chance and that was it. You're out of the team, and I thought it was a bit harsh. And Ivan Diaz, he'd stuck at West Ham. He might have had a bit of game time now because centre midfield is actually where we're short with injuries to Wilshere and Sanchez. He's actually someone we could have probably done with this season. I'm looking forward to seeing him progress at Watford. Actually, I don't really wish ill on people when they leave West Ham, and certainly a youngster like that who's going for more game time, I can only applaud that decision, if you like. I think if it was money, I wouldn't be surprised if he's on the same money he was at West Ham, in all honesty. So for him to go for game time, I'm just glad he's getting it. And you mentioned a couple of players as your danger men for Saturday. Simply, they're two wide players, Pereira and Delafeu.
Yeah, and Quina as well. I'm worried that he's going to bite us on the arse, certainly. But yeah, those three.
Yeah, Pereira for me, because when he first went to Watford, I remember you were more disappointed than I was. I didn't know too much about him, so I wasn't that fussed. But when he first went there, I don't think he really excelled. I thought he looked okay. He was in the Watford team. I thought it was almost like a bullet swerved a little bit. But this season, he's really, really become one of their main players. He's looking brilliant. He's looking confident. He shoots on sight. He's taking players on, etc. So he's a danger. But I'm just glad we've got Zabaleta on that side of the pitch to look after him. There's no one else I'd want to be marking him. Any final words on Watford before we move on to West Ham?
No, I don't think so. I think we've covered it, mate.
If you want to join us on the boats on Saturday, you can do. The links for the tickets are in the description below. So just go below. It says in block capitals boats. Just click that link and you can get it. And we've got promotion on this Saturday. Jaeger bombs and toffee vodka shots are £2.50 only. It's Christmas. We're all going to be in the festive spirit. So you can come along and join us. Why are you laughing?
Well, because if there were subtitles there, when you said we're all going to be in the festive spirit would have been replaced by a different word. One word begins with P. Okay,
interesting. Right. Well, anyway, get your tickets and join us. We'll be in the festive spirit. Anyway, Gonzo, we won our last 4 games. We're trying to win 5 in a row for the first time since February 2016. There you go. That's a question everybody was wondering. The last few weeks, we've been wanting to see Masuaku change for Creswell. Are you still wishing for that, or has Masuaku done enough to retain his place, in your opinion?
He probably did enough to retain his place, but he still had me scared. For large parts of the game, he had me scared. I think there's even more reason to play Creswell, bearing in mind what we've just discussed about Watford, and particularly the danger in wide area. I would expect Delafeu. I mean, you saw a lot of people would have seen that goal where he dribbled through the middle and whatnot, and that was a very, very good goal. But that's not indicative of his overall play. He will tend to stick wide. He will tend to stick on Masuaku's side, and he will run at him, and that is not Masuaku's strong suit. So I would still swap him out and put Creswell in.
Yeah, I would be tempted to swap him as well. The only reason I might keep Masuaku is because we kept a clean sheet of Fulham, so to take a defender out of that, and we need to see this back 5 settled. We've got 4 of the back 5, and it's no use to anybody chopping and changing the left back game in, game out. So if that's his left back, then I think we should keep him. The one thing advantage Masuaku has over Creswell is pace. In order to keep up with Delafeu, should Delafeu get past him, Masuaku's got a half chance of getting back and catching him. Creswell, I'm not so sure. He's not slow, Creswell. I just don't think he's as quick as Masuaku is. Is there any other changes you'd make to the 11, or would you just keep it as it is?
No, that's it, mate. That's it. Antonio in there with Hernandez, and yeah, exactly the same. You can't drop anyone really. I mean, obviously I've just said that I would, but as a whole, the team have just been doing so well, and everyone's played a part in that, So you've got to keep it the same.
Would you even though that we after the Fulham game we weren't sort of overjoyed with the performance, we thought we maybe got away with it a little bit, you would still just keep it?
Yeah, I read a little I would say read a little bit. Well, West Ham fans read a lot, don't you? You spend the week, on social media, forum, comments in the videos. Of course, you read the comments in the videos, and yeah, I thought everyone was not downbeat, but everyone was maybe a little bit more critical than I was. I mean, I didn't mind so much. I didn't think we were as bad as some made out against Fulham. That's certainly the case. So, no, I certainly don't think it warranted it. They came at us in the first half. Yes, they did. But I don't think it warrants chopping and changing the team.
No, I would keep it the same as well, even though I was quite critical of them, because I think my criticism come from how many chances Fulham got, really, and then you sort of look at your defence for that, and I don't really want to see any of them change, in all honesty. I certainly don't want Baldwin coming in, and I don't really want us to rest Zabaleta for this one. But I'll tell you what I do want to see, not that it makes a difference considering the time of year it is. If Zabaleta gets booked, he misses the Southampton game, etc. So that's something we need to consider. If he is going to be rotated, fair enough. But if he's not going to be rotated for that one, Zabaleta needs to behave a little bit on Saturday up against Pereira. Otherwise, he will be missing Saints, and Antonio then has to go right back. The only team news is that Lucas Perez is back in training and maybe in the squad on Saturday, probably at the expense of Xander Silva, who obviously didn't come on. Andy Carroll's probably gone from 75% fit to 76% fit. So what are you laughing about that now?
It's funny. It's a good chat.
But does this game become harder for you, Gonzo? We've now won 4 in a row. Is it because we're going after game number 5? Is it any more difficult than it would have been if we hadn't won 4 in a row? If that makes sense at all?
What has the run of victories created an expectation? Maybe you're alluding to. I don't think so. I don't think so. This is good pressure if you want, and I don't think it's no. I'm not having any of that. We all wanted this. The team would have wanted this. Pellegrini would have wanted this. Training would have been good this week. Would have been, really a lot of fun. A lot of fun in that training ground. A lot of bounce. No, it's all good news at the moment, I think, mate.
Yeah, I think the only way I think it might become a bit more difficult is we become a bigger scalp for teams. I think Watford would see this as, if they win on Saturday, I think they would see this as a bigger victory as they might have done a month ago, for example, before we went on our little streak. Does overconfidence worry you? Because this is the exact team we played at the London Stadium. Remember, we were 2-0 up at half time, and it wasn't half time. Sorry, it was 5 minutes to go or something. We were 2-0 up. And then it was 2-2, and then we got beat 4-2. And Troy Deeney, after the game, said, well, they tried all this flashy flicks and tricks and whatnot, and that wound us up, if you like. So does overconfidence play a part, or do you think this is a slightly different mentality to what we had with Dimitri Payet doing his showboating and stuff?
Crikey. I mean, listen to those comments. Sounds like the flaming offspring, the love child of Tony Pulis and Sam Allardyce. Those tricks and flicks, all that fancy football wound us up. Oh, piss off, Troy. Do you know what I mean? Give it a break. Oh, crikey. There's a man not destined for the top leagues, if that's his attitude. Don't ever go and play Barcelona or anything then, mate. Honestly, ridiculous. No, I don't think overconfidence is an issue. I think we need to be confident for the way we play football. I really do. I think that we need to be confident in possession. And not only that, the person looking to receive the ball needs to be confident. And the person passing it needs to be confident to pass it to them, even if they're marked. That's how, when you play that style of football, that's how you play. I don't want them shrinking into themselves. So, no, I think if you're an endeavour, if you're a team based on endeavour, then I think if you get cocky, then you sort of drop the amount of miles you run and stuff like that. But I don't think we run an awful lot. Snodgrass aside, I think ours is based on the passing game and the offside trap and stuff like that. And I don't think that changes. I think you need to be confident to play the offside trap. You need to be confident. Step up, play the offside trap. Pass it. Need to be confident to do so. So no, that doesn't worry me.
For what it's worth, I don't either. I just needed some questions on West Ham this week. So I knew we were going to say we're going to say we're not going to change the starting 11. There's not much to talk about, is there? I needed something. I'm scraping the barrel here. Work with me. For our next preview, almost need to get beat 3-0 so we can discuss who we would change for the Southampton game.
I'll work with you, all right? You can wait till you ask your next questions.
Last question. I'm sort of managed to find at the bottom of that battle. Do you have is there any worries regarding weaknesses from our side, from our team, if you like, heading into Saturday's game?
Yeah, only superstitious ones, Geo. Is there anything tangible? Probably no. But that nagging old West Ham fan within me thinks, hold on, we've pushed our luck now. That's going to bite us on the arse. Queen A is going to come back and bite us on the arse. we've had a little bit too much fun. The old funometer has been up a little bit to that thing that Man City can wind that right up to 11. All right. We only get a 4 and then we have to go back down to 0. So the old funometer has cranked up like we're a big club, and we're going to get. I feel like we're going to get our arses slapped. But it's all superstitious. There's nothing tactically or personnel wise I can point to and say, yeah, we're going to lose this, because really we should contest it, and draw or win it. But yeah, that West Ham fan in me, it's hard.
Well, I've got two. One, us in the air. That still concerns me. Okay, it still worries me a little bit. I don't think, for some reason, it's set pieces especially. We just go to pot when there's a set piece. We can't, for some reason, our centre backs, who are big guys who play having really good seasons, they look confident. But whenever a set piece comes in, they seem to stop defending or something. Something happens when we're defending a set piece, and that worries me a little bit. Watford got their second goal against Everton from a cross. I'm sure it was a cross into the box, and Decore thumped it in at the back post off the header or something like that. We need to be a little bit careful. They have good wide players. They're going to get the ball in the box. We need to be a bit careful of that. And the second one is we need to start quick, okay? Because you talk about riding our luck. I think we have rode our luck, okay? I think Newcastle were wasteful against us. After the game, we said it could have finished 8-4 or something, and they wasted their chances. We were lucky to not go in 2-0 down against Crystal Palace when they hit the bar. They were 1-0 up and then they hit the bar. We were lucky with that. Palace scored first in that game. They were on top of us for the first 5 minutes. So Cardiff held us at arm's length for quite a while. Then they got the pen. We could have went in 1-0 down there. Then Fulham could have been 2-0 up after about 15 minutes with Fabianski. Eventually, that defensive luck is going to run out. And I just wonder if we're a way to come up with, against a side who's a bit more clinical than what we've just played in the last 4 games, a side who are scoring goals as well. They've scored 5 in their last 2. This Watford team have talent. But me and you just spoke about the players we admire. All we spoke about was the striker and the wingers and midfielders that can score. None of us mentioned defenders. Now, that's probably a bit harsh because their defence isn't that bad, and Hollebass is one of the best attacking defenders in the league, etc. And we've just missed all them out. That's my only two worries. But the question is, does my optimism outweigh the worries in order to predict a win? But are you confident for this one, Gonzo?
Not at all. No,
so after saying there's no weaknesses, you're now not confident.
I'm not. I'm sorry, and you know this anyway. I've been dreading this fixture coming up on the horizon. I was talking about it sort of 3 fixtures ago. No, we had conversations. You were saying to me, I don't know why you rate Watford, and
yeah, this is a compliment to Watford rather than a negative to West Ham.
Absolutely, and that Queen of the, I feared it. Then I watched Queener having that game the other day. I was like, I knew this would happen. I'm telling you now, he's going to look like Zidane on Saturday. He's going to look like Zidane. I'm dreading it. It was so West Ham. It's so West Ham to sell a player and he'll come back and look absolutely world class against us. The fact that we went in for Delafeu and didn't get him. The fact that we went in for Pereira and didn't get him. I can just see it all happening. I'm not confident at all. I'm really worried about it.
Interesting. The one thing that does give me a boost of confidence is I think if you're the opposition team, we were to go to watch a Watford fan channel, or we were on a Watford fan channel, they would say, I'd expect them to be saying, we need to score 2 on Saturday if we're going to get a point from this. They need to come here. Any opposition team come to London Stadium this season has to score 2, and that's to get a point. Okay, it still might not be enough for a point. That's the way we're playing at the minute, and that's what gives me confidence. The fact that we will score 1. I don't think me and you're going to be doing a preview anytime soon where we predict West Ham to score none. Okay, I don't think it's going to happen. We're always, even if we get beat, it's going to be scoring and losing. Okay, so I'm confident of us scoring. So the question is, can we score more than Watford? That is a simple question in this preview for me. I'm reasonably confident. Our bench is strong for this weekend as well. Carroll will be on there. Perez might be on there. We've got enough cover on there. We've got enough to change the game. Pellegrini's got options on there. And that's despite all the injury list mounting up, etc. as well. So Watford, while they like I said, they have scored, they've also conceded. I think they were fortunate to be winning against Everton. The first half, Everton should have been out of sight, in my opinion. They weren't. Watford come out a different team, deservedly took the 2-1 lead. Very harshly done by to get that free kick conceded in the last minute. But they're conceding 4 in the last 2 as well. So, Gonzo, may I ask you, for your score prediction. Neither of us seem too optimistic for this one.
Yeah, I think it might be 2-2, Geo. 2-2, your favourite scoreline.
Oh, I'm going to copy you, actually, because it is my favourite scoreline, but we don't often have the same score prediction. I'm going to say 2-2 as well. I think there's going to be plenty of goals, and I think at the end of the day, it'll still be 13 points out of 15, which is a fantastic run for West Ham, etc., etc. So, I mean, you're not predicting us to wake up on Christmas Day in 6th place, unfortunately, which is a possibility. It depends how tomorrow night goes between Wolves and Liverpool. Gonzo, any final words on preview before we disappear and do our Premier League preview over on the second channel?
No, just give me 10 minutes to set it up, and then everybody that's watching this, come and join us on the second channel, and we'll talk about all the other teams then.
And if you're watching this after 9:15 on Thursday night, it's already done. This video will be on your screen right now. If you enjoyed this preview, drop a like on it. Get your tickets for the boats. Links in the description. Come have a beer, have a Jaeger bomb, have a burger, whatever. Kids go free, as they do all season, but they need to get a ticket. It's in the description. That's been Gonzo. I've been Geo. We've been Ham's Chat. And we'll see you Saturday, straight after the game. Well, not straight after the game, at some point in the evening with our review from the boats. Catch you in a bit.